Hello. Another week. I've been a bit quiet, I think, the last week. I think basically it's because there's just so much nonsense at the minute. So much concerning news, stories, behaviour from our government. So many things that are scaring and worrying people. It's difficult to know where to start and where to end, so sometimes you kind of feel it's best just not to say anything. But two things that I was just thinking while I was walking, and one is a real concern of mine that I don't know if there's anything that can be done, and we just seem to be sleepwalking into this dystopia, is the growth of the whole AI movement. And it kind of came to me when I was reading late one night, and we do seem to be regressing at a fast rate, and we do seem to be dumbing down generation after generation. You know, when you go back, you know, say my grandparents' generation, they just had books. They didn't have anything else, just books. Old school, incredibly well written, really articulate, really descriptive, quite complicated language. Big books, Shakespeare, Jane Austen, you know, all these kind of things that they would really get their information from. Big encyclopedias that came along that they'd have to read through swathes of pages, swathes of information, and they didn't have that much to do, so they spent most of their time reading. And then you got the radio, which was basically the BBC, and back in those times was very respectful and trustworthy, pretty much, very factual. Then you got to a bit later, my parents' generation, and magazines started coming in. And in my generation, you know, kids would pore over smash hits magazines or whatever it was, Dandy and Beano, and girls had Marie Claire or whatever, and kids then started to just spend a lot of their time looking at the latest pop star, and fashion or makeup stuff started to kick in. Then my kids' generation, the end of my generation, you started to get phones coming in, so magazines then started to die off, and you got more fast movement, more instant gratification on your phones, and people read less, and you just became more of a viewer. And then now we're going to start getting AI, where you hear interviewers saying that kids who've been using AI a lot for their essays or for answers are starting to be unable to formulate properly structured answers, and can't quite think for themselves. And AI is programmed, you know, people forget, they treat it like gospel. It's programmed by people, so it has bias within its own opinions and answers. I've seen some this week where it's been quite rude and obstinate and has refused to answer certain things, or it's been completely wrong. Like one was saying a picture when someone asked where it was, the AI was saying it was definitely London because of the yellow cabs. Like, since when has London been known for its yellow cabs? Well, it hasn't, so, and it was obviously not London. It's really concerning. So you've gone from really structurally, textually, language heavy, sophisticated books, to kids then having more time on magazines, more pictures, to phones with just pictures and videos, to now AI. And at what point, you know, people are going to just stop using their brain altogether, and humans, you know, may just have a chip that just answers everything for them. It really concerns me, and I know some people love AI, but for me, I don't see any positive side to it. I just see jobs going, I see humans getting lazier, more stupid, you know. And it all goes back, like, if you go again far back, like there was a time, like I said, there wasn't radios or TVs or anything, and then TVs came, but you had to get off your bum and change the channel yourself. And then the controller came and people didn't have to get off the bum anymore, and they just pointed it and that did it for them. They're more and more like this, making humans more stupid, more obsolete, is a real great concern of mine. Like I've said for ages, even just with the mobile phones, and you see kids just constantly scrolling and they don't ever get bored anymore. They don't have that part of the brain that they used to in the old days, where they were so bored they would go create a story or a piece of painting, or they would build a building, you know, a den, like the creative part of their brains. Kids are doing that less and less. So where will our future authors be? Where will our future painters be? Our engineers, our architects? It's a great concern of mine. I would love AI to die a speedy death, and for us to kind of go backwards a bit, back to reading books, back to more writing. Because again, the more kids are using computers and things in class, the worse their writing is getting. Terrible in general. Spelling and grammar, shocking, you know. We should move forward. We should be getting better. We should get more sophisticated with our skills. But with AI and computers and those that push these things, for me, humans are rapidly becoming more stupid, unhealthy and useless by the day, which feeds into the hands of those that see humans as useless eaters and something to minimize. Anyway, just thoughts of the day. Have a good one.